There you are, still at the breakfast table. I figured you'd wandered off. Good pet. Come now. I need. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I interrupting something? Am I interrupting something between you and my servant here, I mean? I see those smiles on your little faces. I'd hate to intrude on a private moment. Oh, I see. You were only thanking him for the lovely breakfast spread. How well-mannered of you. And it is such a delicious-looking array of foods, isn't it? All these ripe fruits fresh from the orchard, golden breaded pastries not a moment out of the oven, creamy tarts and scones and rolls. But your gratitude quite misses the mark, no? After all, the boy merely set your table. A trained circus animal could do that. It was your emperor that sent for all these treats for his beloved pet. His chefs that prepared them. His coin that furnished them. Is there, perhaps, someone in the room more deserving of your thanks than some servant? You're very welcome. As I told you, there is no material expense I will spare to see to the satisfaction of those closest to me. Unfortunately, we'll need to cut this splendid meal short. It's time for your bath. No, I have a number of illustrious guests who have traveled a long way awaiting an audience in the throne room. They've expressed a desire to conclude our discussion as swiftly as possible, lest that dreadful storm raging outside grow any worse. There is no time to spare. Put down that tart and follow me. Quickly. What did you say? You don't genuinely believe that I'm concerned whether or not you're still hungry, do you? You wouldn't be foolish enough to deceive yourself into thinking I'd place the whims of your fickle stomach above the responsibilities of the imperial court, because that would be an awfully stupid delusion to fall under, even for a guileless creature like you. Now get up. No, you may not take that tart with you. I won't have you throwing crumbs all over my carpets like some ill-trained dog, scattering their filthy scraps around their master's home. What is that look on your face? Are you upset? Do you think I'm being cruel and unfair, keeping you from your morning meal? No, it's worse. That's defiance in your eyes, isn't it? Do not lie to your emperor. I see what's happening here. Those tasty delights I've placed upon your tongue, and those comfortable silks I've clothed you in, and the idle smile of my servant boy here have made you forget yourself again. I suspected as much. These last few weeks under my tender care, it's not just your cheeks that have grown a little plump and ripe, is it? Your pride has swollen as well, and I've already told you how dangerous that can be. Whatever are we going to do to temper that pride? I'm curious how long that stubborn little scowl would last if... Actually, no. I have a better idea. I'll tell you what. I've changed my mind. Let it never be said that your emperor is not a man of considerable generosity. Go ahead. Finish the tart. No. Don't apologize. I told you. I've changed my mind. Does my face look at all unsure or insincere? You need not worry about your bath. We can dispense with that for this morning. Finish that tart. Finish the whole plate of them if you like. In fact, cram every morsel on this table down your little throat if it suits you. I can see plainly that you're simply starving, and I would never stand between you and your so very richly deserved treats. Go on. Eat it. I said, eat it. Good, pet. Chew it down thoroughly now. I wouldn't want you to choke. If you'll excuse me, I have to proceed to the throne. But you may stay here and dine as long as you like. Gorge yourself to your heart's content. I will return to our chambers after my meeting. Until then, let me bid you farewell, with a kiss on the forehead. No, don't shy away now. I can see you're still uneasy. You're not afraid of a little kiss, are you? There we are. Business awaits. Oh, and you, boy? Yes, I'm speaking to you, servant. Come walk with me as I depart. Good boy. I have some special instructions for you. Leave my pet in peace to finish their meal. They're obviously very hungry, and they'll feast on just what they deserve today. Hello? Where are you, pet? You'll be pleased to learn I've returned to you early. My meeting with those half-wit barons concluded mercifully ahead of schedule. I've been looking all over my chambers for... Oh no. Is that you out there, pet? What are you doing all alone on the balcony? And in this dreadful storm? Why, it's raining buckets out there. And you're not even wearing a cloak. You're still dressed in your house clothes. You must be soaked to the skin. Here, let me open the door. Hurry inside. Quickly. What happened? What do you mean? I know you can't help your chattering teeth, darling, but try not to stammer. I can hardly understand you to begin with over this howling rain. Yes, of course I know how my pet so enjoys going outside on the balcony for a little fresh air. So you're telling me that you stepped outside earlier, and then what happened? Someone closed the balcony door and latched it by mistake? Oh no. Poor thing. You've been locked out here, in the midst of this horrid downpour and these blistering storm winds? One of the servants must have seen the balcony door ajar and latched it, not realizing that you were outside. I ordered them to leave you alone as to not interrupt your special meal, since I could see how hungry you were this morning. Doubtless they obeyed me and left our chambers after securing the door, so they could hardly hear you calling for help. You must have been trapped for at least an hour, perhaps longer. How positively awful. No wonder you're shaking and shivering like some poor defenseless rabbit. This rain must have chilled you to the bone. And oh, water is running down your head. It's utterly ruined your beautiful hair. This is just terrible. I can't bear to think of how you must have felt, cowering all alone out here for so long, with those baleful winds and this unrelenting torrent of rain beating down on your shoulders and soaking every inch of you. But don't fret. I'm here now. Your emperor is here to rescue his good pet. Take my hand. That's it. I've got you. Oh, but wait. I'm afraid I can't allow you to step inside in this condition. Your clothes are so cold and wet and clammy, you'd think they'd been pilfered from a shipwreck. I can't let you drip dirty rainwater all over my polished wooden floors. And besides, you're liable to catch a deathly chill if you stay in those wet garments, and we wouldn't want that. Take them off. Yes, all of them, pet. Your underclothes will have to go as well, I'm afraid. They're no doubt as wet as all the rest. But don't worry, your master hasn't forgotten about how shy you are about undressing before him. I'll respect your modesty and close my eyes. When you're finished, take this towel here and dry off. Then wrap it around your body to cover yourself. There we are. Good pet. Quick as ever to follow instructions. Shh, shh, shh. Don't fret. I'm not looking. Finished? I'm sorry. I know how you chafe at being like this before me. That little humiliated look in your downturned eyes is adorable, but I promise that this is only for your own good. Here, take my hand again. Let me lead you into the drawing room. There's a good pet. How fortunate that the fire is already stoked and roaring, ready to press the warmth back into your chilled muscles. But after what you've endured, you'll need more than just a distant flame to warm you. You will require a more intimate warmth. Here, let me sit down on this armchair, and you may sit on my lap. I'll draw this soft, heavy blanket over both of us. Let its folds envelop you. Don't you already feel so much better? Dry and out of those awful drenched clothes, wrapped up snug and tight in the soft fabric, the lapping flames of the fire embracing you from without, while the warmth of my body cradles you from within. Of course you do. No need to speak, pet. Your teeth are still chattering from the cold, and it's difficult to understand you. But your little purrs of contentment tell me all I need to know. Oh, I just can't believe such a trifling mistake led to this. How horrible. You poor thing. Let me bring my hand up to stroke your hair. You're quite fond of me doing that, aren't you? Wrap your arms around me. Nestle in close. You're safe now. I promise. No more cold rain. No more ear-splitting thunder and hideous lightning streaking across the sky. None of those things can reach my good pet within their safe, soft blanket. Focus on your emperor's gentle hand, patting her head. Focus on embracing his nice, warm body. Relax. Ah, is that a shy smile I spy, creeping onto your trembling lips? It is such a relief to be home and back in my arms again, isn't it, pet? As we recline here, would you like something to drink? Something hot and fierce and fiery, perhaps, to warm you yet further? I know just the thing. Let me ring for a servant. Boy, fetch a cup of hot tea for my companion here, and remember to add a pinch of sugar and a spoonful of honey. I want this drink to be especially sweet on their tongue. They deserve it after the day they've had. Poor thing. Hurry along now. Good boy. My. What was that, pet? Did you think I wouldn't notice you hiding your head beneath the cover of your blanket as my servant approached us? Your emperor notices everything, as I often remind you. Not that you were being particularly subtle. Why did you do such a silly thing, I wonder? Are you embarrassed to be seen like this? In this weakened, exposed state you find yourself in, sitting here in my lap? Surely you know that he can see you, whether or not you try to hide. Or was that little retreat beneath the covers not a conscious choice on your part, but rather the work of base instinct? Perhaps it's just in the nature of rats to try to burrow down deep in the shadows when they feel vulnerable. That is, after all, how you arrived on these shores in the first place, if memory serves, skulking in a box in the dark. Perhaps such Soft-hearted behavior merely comes naturally to someone like you. Oh, what's that hurt look all of a sudden? What's that fresh wetness in your eyes? Oh, I see. I called you a rat again, didn't I? I know how it so badly wounds your pride when I do that, but you must simply understand. It's very difficult to resist calling a creature what they so plainly are. It's so hard to pretend you're anything but a little rat. Scared and confused and helpless, when a few teasing words can make you writhe and squirm nervously against my body like that. If only you could feel the desperation with which your little paws cling to me as shame wells inside you, you'd see the wisdom in my words. Shh. No need to apologize. I'm hardly upset with you. It's folly to be upset at an animal for acting in accordance with their nature, and I know very well what sort of timid animal you are. Though, I will confess, it is a touch amusing to watch you now behaving so shyly and being so delightfully submissive after your little tantrum at breakfast this morning. Oh, pet, if only you could see how wide your eyes just grew. Fear looks so very adorable on you. You didn't think I'd forgotten your little insolent behavior towards me this morning, did you? How you protested when I ordered you to your bath. How you looked at me with that laughable righteousness in your eyes, as though I was being so utterly unfair with you. No, don't fret. I'm not vexed with you anymore. As I said, I'm merely amused. You were so confident this morning, no? Smiling and holding your head high, in good spirits, stuffing your mouth with those tasty tarts. You looked every bit the pompous little royal. You certainly had no problem speaking with my servant boy and looking him in the eye then. And now, look at you, cowering, clutching at my body, with trembling, anxious hands under your blanket, frightened even to allow that same servant to see your face. I wonder what turned you back into this wretched little rat. Shh. No stammering now. Save your words. I know what happened. You dread the thought of him seeing you like this. I admit, you looked almost dignified these past few days, as all the hours I've lavished on preening and primping have yielded their fruit. Strutting around my chambers in your dashing clothing that I gifted you. Each day, you've looked a little less a stowaway and more a sovereign's consort. How dismaying it was for me when I began to realize that pretty coat of paint I painstakingly layered over your ugly underbelly was beginning to give you delusions of independence. And yet, though it required all those dozens of hours of tedious work expended to make you presentable, observe that it hardly took the slightest sliver of effort to wash it all down the drain. A few buckets of filthy rainwater to scour the gel from your hair and strip those beautiful clothes on you, and my spell was broken, leaving you here before me as what you truly are. This small, wet, helpless thing, hiding away from the world under their blanket like a frightened animal, clinging shamelessly to their master, at once desperate for his affection and approval, and terrified of his wrath. Oh my, I wonder what that servant boy would think if I tore that blanket off and bared you to his gaze. I wonder what you'd do. Crawl down under the chair, perhaps, or beneath the floorboards. Oh, calm down. Spare your pleading, pet. It was only a joke. I'm not that cruel. Don't fret. I promise you're safe under there. I won't take away your blanket, or what remains of your dignity. It hardly matters either way. You know very well that he'll never look at you the same way again. That now he's glimpsed the pathetic reality behind the elegant facade I cloaked you in before. He can never truly respect you again. Tomorrow morning, no matter how glittering the gold on your fingers, how well pressed the silk of your shirt, how trimmed and well styled your hair, he'll look at you and see only the pitiful thing huddled in my lap that he saw tonight. Are you about to cry? You may shed tears if you need to. I can see you're feeling very tender right now. It's alright. Let me just rub your back and soothe you. There. Doesn't that feel nice? I so enjoy the feeling of your bare skin under my soft palms. No, don't flinch. You aren't going anywhere. Just let me caress you. It's your pride that brought you down to this humiliating position here in my lap tonight. Did you know that? That same pernicious pride that keeps straying you from the proper path of a loyal pet. This is hardly the first time you've been defiant with me, is it? Your pride gives you these high-minded ideas about dignity and self-regard. It deceives you into forgetting who and what you truly are. It makes you do silly, stupid things, like asking your emperor to delay his important business, so that you might have sufficient time to stuff your greedy mouth with another tart at breakfast. Oh, poor thing. I can see that fearful realization dawning in your eyes. Did you think it was mere chance that you were locked outside in the freezing rain today? I thought it quite a poetic punishment, truth be told. Since you were too arrogant to take your warm, comfortable, lavender-scented bath with me, I thought I'd instruct my servant to arrange for you to be introduced to a decidedly less hospitable bath, courtesy of nature. And that bath cleaned up your stubborn demeanor quite nicely, didn't it? Oh, don't look so frightened, pet. I knew you'd only be trapped for an hour or so before I came to take you in out of the cold. I would never put you at any real risk. Your behavior simply demanded a hard lesson today, and I reluctantly had to oblige you. But don't be afraid. Don't shy away from me. Nuzzle back into my chest. You will stay here as long as I want you to. Rest easy. Your punishment is over, and you're forgiven for your behavior. I only hope you won't soon forget what I taught you today. Ah, there you are, boy. What took you so long? Hand me the teacup. Ah, my companion. Their little whimpers tug at one's heartstrings, I know. But I assure you, they're quite all right under there. They're merely embarrassed to have you see them in such a compromising position, that's all. Good boy. You're dismissed. You may bring your head out from under there, pet. He's gone. Here, let me serve you your tea. There you are. Open your mouth and sip. Delicious, isn't it? Ah, you're very welcome, pet. And what a delicious tone you used to say, "Yes, Emperor," just now. Color me impressed. I almost thought you'd forgotten how to address me properly with all your brashness in these last weeks. But now I see. You just needed a little reminder. Perhaps you'll always need a little reminder of what you are, every now and then. A few drops of proverbial rainwater drizzle down on your back to keep you humble. That's perfectly all right. I'm quite willing to do what I must to properly train you. I care very deeply for you, pet. I hope you know that. You're my very favorite plaything, and even if you sometimes give me cause to be harsh with you, my affection for you is undiminished. In fact, it's that very affection that moves me to administer such lessons to protect you from your own worst impulses. I so dread to see my precious pet debase themselves by slipping into disobedience and disarray. I only want what is best for you. You know that, don't you? Ah, thank you, pet. I knew you would come to understand the method in my treatment of you after all was said and done. Here, perhaps a gentle kiss will help remind you of the depth of my love for you. Ah, you liked that, didn't you? Here, take another sip of tea and look into my eyes. Ah, you always look so soft and helpless when you cry. Let me just wipe that stray tear from your cheek. Don't be afraid. I'll remind you, you're not being punished anymore, and I'm no longer at all angry with you. You're safe now, here in my arms. I know with certainty that you'll be a good pet for a long while after tonight. I confess, your little whines and whimpers have stirred my heart. I'm not without mercy. Shall we retire to bed early tonight, so that my pet can rest and recover after the ordeal they put themselves through today? I'll give you an especially gentle and loving bath tonight. The warm water will nurse your aches and pains. After that, we'll adjourn to our bed for your nightly lesson in affection, and I promise my tender touch and careful hands will make you forget all about this ugly business. Don't worry, I'll permit you to wear your night clothes to bed. I won't keep you like this, tempting as it would be to do so. Oh, shh. It's all right. No need to sputter. I understand you're a touch overwhelmed. You need time to recuperate. We can stay here like this as long as you desire. Just close your eyes and nestle in. Feel the beating of my heart, so very close to your own. You are warm and safe and loved here in your emperor's arms. You wandered away from me on your path for a brief moment, that's all. The important thing is that I found you before you strayed too far, and I reined you in. I brought you back to your rightful place. And not a moment too soon, I think. There is more than one storm lurking on the horizon, pet. I do not doubt that you have felt the change in the air. Loyalties shift like quicksand beneath our feet. Once hushed whispers in the dark, winding streets below us grow ever louder. Momentous times await my empire. The hour is fast approaching when I'll require the company and confidence of my faithful servant out in the world beyond the confines of this chamber, when master and pet must, of necessity, uncover parts of one another so far kept hidden and open ourselves to a more raw and complete intimacy between our minds and between our bodies. That is why I must be so firm and forceful with you in our training. When that hour arrives, your allegiance must be unwavering. But do not be afraid, pet, because your emperor has no fear for you. He knows that though you stray, you will stay the course in the end. You are mine, aren't you? You belong to me, do you not? Are you not my loyal pet and plaything, forever and always? Good